Alright, so today we are checking out another budget-friendly RC truck. This is going to be the WPL C24, and it's also one of the trucks that most of the people that say that you probably wanted to start with. So let's actually just look into like the specs. We're going to drive it together, and we're going to FPV it together to see if this is actually worth it. Alright, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so let's start by looking at the spec first. So the WPL C24, I think this is C24-1, is going to be a 16 scale RC truck. So you can see that the size compared to my hands, it is not that big. And you will be able to drive this indoor and outdoor. So it's kind of like the versatile version of the smaller kind of crawlers. Right. As for the exterior, you can see that we're getting most of the hard body. So this is going to be a really nice paint job in white. I think they actually did a really good job with this. And if you actually put some stickers on it, it's actually going to look pretty nice. As for here, the trunk part portion, the mates of this kind of like texture of the black looks better than the original plastic. So you can see that this is the first type of plastic that you can see, and this is another black plastic that you can see. Let's just look at the grill. This is the original color of the plastic, and this one does look a little bit more high quality. So when you're actually driving on top, you're looking at it, it's going to look nicer. As for what actually opens, so the WPL trucks generally, yeah, I think their trucks are just not kind of like, there's not a lot of stuff for you to open on WPL's truck. So the only thing that actually opens is going to be the compartment right here. So this is normally where you store your batteries on WPL trucks, and that's the only thing that opens on this truck. And since like it's a $30-something kind of like truck on AliExpress pre-tariff, this is going to be like expected. It's going to be cheap. But if you would really wanted to upgrade this, you can. There's going to be tons of upgrade parts that you can just buy directly. So the grill wise, I really like this little like red like hook thing. Although it's all plastic, but it does give it a little pop on the front end. So the front end looks really nice. So next, let's actually just check out the interiors. So for the interiors, WPL, for this one, I really just think they're not doing a really good job for this one. It's not really just, it's just kind of like a toy grade level kind of, just a toy grade level kind of like interior. This is just not that good. But at least you still get a driving wheel, you still get seats, kind of like the most important part of it. You get some mirrors, but with no mirrors. Overall, so the interior, I would say it's just okay. Okay, so you still get your windshield wipers, still get most of the stuff that you're supposed to get, and you get like front lights. Everything just seems to be okay. It's kind of like there, but it's just a toy grade level. Okay, so next, let's just tip the truck over. Let's actually look at what powertrain system that you're actually going to be getting. So first and most obviously, you're probably going to see the motor right here. This is a really small 180 motor, so yeah, it's probably going to be a little bit powerless. And if you want more power, you could potentially upgrade it to a 370 or something that is actually bigger. You do have a lot of space that you can do it, but this motor is just, it's just not going to be very powerful because it's relatively small compared to like the bigger options. The rest of the stuff, you're going to see that the axles, your drive links, and your actual supports, they're actually just going to be all in plastic. So another good thing that we're seeing that is metal is actually going to be the middle beam. So this is very good because you do have the options to upgrade right now to like, this is kind of like the more important part of the entire structure. So at least you're getting like metal beam chassis. This is good for upgrade purpose. All right, so let's actually put it over here. Let's actually look at the servo. So the servo is not going to be axle mount. It's actually mounted to the hard shell body, as you can see right here. This is probably going to contribute, like when you're actually turning, your truck might tilt a little bit head because it's just, I just don't think this is going to be in the best place to mount the servo. If you wanted to mount the servo, I think the best place is still going to be on the axle. But still, again, if you wanted to buy this as your project cart at a really cheap price, kind of you're just buying the shell, and the rest, you can just completely modify it like 100% to like metal and use all kinds of like a premium like parts to like just kind of like upgrade it to something completely different. But you can use this as your project car. But overall, not really impressed by seeing whatever that is including already on here, because these are just not good quality, I would say. All right, so we're just not going to be removing the top shell because removing WPL like shells is a little bit more challenging compared to the rest of the models because they're just not that easy. Yeah, but we're just going to be talking about the control system. So the radio system, basically, you're just going to get a 2-in-1 ESC that has the ESC and also the RX built in. So if you wanted to upgrade, consider upgrading all of these and use your own radio. You do have to replace that. That is something that you probably have to pay attention of. All right, let's actually flip it back. Let's really bring out the remote. Since this is going to be obviously going to be ready to run, you're going to come with a remote, and this remote is going to be for the WPL C24. And this remote is going to be from the WPL C24, and you can see that the quality wise, this one I like it a lot better. And if you flip it over, you can see this is just a way more superior model, and this is kind of like just old. And yeah, everything that this one just feels much better. So I wish that they could just potentially like kind of throw this away and use this instead, because this one is a much better remote compared to this one. This one is just complete, it just looks terrible, and not as much of the controls on here. So you can see that at least for the C64 one, you do get to like it, besides of adjusting your like servo, you do get to use brakes, and you do get like to change your like steering rates, because this one, yeah, there's not a lot of stuff included, but it's okay. We're just going to use this one for now. All right, so to power this thing on is pretty simple. We just have to power it up like this, and this is kind of like, I don't know how many channels is this, 1 channel, 2 channel, maybe 3. So yeah, it's not a lot of stuff included. So this is kind of like a toric way stuff, but if your goal is to upgrade it completely to whatever you want, then it's going to be totally fine, because yeah, you're just going to most likely ditch all the stuff, yeah, and use your own stuff. Right, so you can see that the WPL does have front headlights, and basically that's it. There's nothing else. So I think WPL, most of the products that I have for their products, mostly these are only going to be including headlights, and they're not going to be including like steering lights. So that's kind of like something that I think they can improve in the future. So as you can see that what we're talking about when we're talking about servo mounting on top of the chassis, on top of the shell, is that if you're actually trying to steer your wheels, you can see that your head is going to just start shaking. That is something that is going to probably decrease your performance, because you're just kind of like shaking your head like that. Is so weird. Right, so the shocks wise, they are super stiff. I just don't think these are going to be good. So for the regular control, you do get like, obviously you can adjust your like servo like location to make sure your tires are actually like driving straight. You get steering, that's what we spoke about, and you get like 1 speed. You can forward, you can go backwards, and basically that's all that is included. All right, so let's just go test it on the field to see how it actually performs in complete stock. So yeah, you can decide if you wanted to grab this one. All right, let's get going. All right, so swapping the scene to the front yard. So we're gonna first by testing driving this on like paved road to see how it goes. And since we only got like 1 gear, it's gonna be like that. So this is gonna be the fastest speed that this gear can go. So because of, I think what they wanted to do for the crawling ability, they are just putting like a really high torque on it. So the motor probably has a really high T. So yep, you can see that this is how it goes, and it's kind of noisy to be honest. And as for the turning wise, it wasn't that great. You can see that you're not getting a lot of turning angle. Right, so crawling, okay, seems okay that it's actually climbing on top of that thing, so it's not bad. Right, so let's actually go on the grass fields to like see how it actually performs. Right, so slow speed. So you have to do like a really nice throttle control in order to like get it to work. All right, let's punch it. All right, so this is going to be the fastest this truck is going to go. So yeah, I think that they actually did a pretty good choice instead of like just putting like a really higher speed, because when you're like slower speed and like a higher T rating, at least you are going to get some sort of like higher torque in case you wanted to do crawling. And I just realized I'm missing one of the little hooks in the front, so the red is missing. Yep. All right, let's make a turn right here. So you can see that the turning angle, it's not very impressive, I have to say. Yeah. So it's like basically minimum. You can see that there's basically no turning angle at all. Yeah. Is there more? I think it's more over there. All right, so for the shock wise, you can see that this car does have like, I don't know, I do think that they are spring shocks and they're not really great. But you can see that the articulation it's at least there. That is actually doing something, but it's not doing a lot. And if you want to upgrade, I will probably say like oil filter shock is probably the way to go. But for WPL upgrading, it's just going to be a little bit harder because from how they actually build the trucks, that you probably won't be able to fit directly any like shocks into it. You have to buy the WPL ones. So yep. So actually drive slower speed to see how it goes. Okay, you can see that's actually not bad for the price. I would say, yeah, it's worth the money. All right, so next we're just going to be testing to see if this thing actually goes on top of 45-degree, because that's what it was advertised. So let's actually do it. All right, so let's start the driving. Right, let's do it again. I think we have to do it like in one blow. Yep. I don't think the tires are actually doing it. So far, like no trucks, like if it's in stock format, I don't think like anyone was able to do like a 45-degree climb if it's just like on a wooden plate. If it's going to be something like a stone or something, that, oh, you can see that it almost did it. Okay, let's actually punch the throttle. Yeah, the driving angle of this thing is just really not that great. Oh, yay! Almost. It almost did it. Oh, yeah, you can see that it actually did it. Whoops. Oh, well. But you can see that at least it actually did almost on the top, so not bad. All right, so next is going to be our usual tree root test. Let's see how the WPL C24 actually performs at this track. All right, so since the C24 only has 1 gear, we're just going to gently press the throttle to see how it actually performs. Okay, so, okay. All right. Uh-oh. Well, it's not that impressive, actually. The articulation, it was okay. It is there, but I think it's just a little bit powerless. It just feels like it doesn't have enough power to like go on top of the thing that is supposed to go up. Okay. I don't think it will be able to go through that. Yeah, I wish this thing actually has a little bit more like driving angle. This one is just not there. Yeah, it's not really, this is not really good. I will say that this is off. What it's offering right now, it's just not really easy to control. And the crawling capability was just okay. But, and the turning angle is just like, it's just like really terrible, I would say. It's like basically there's no turning angle at all. Yep. Yeah, but if your goal is to buy like aftermarket kits to like modify this, I think like at least this is going to be a really fun truck to try. All right. All right, so next is going to be our like sand dune test as usual, since this is going to be our sand pit. All right, let's slowly enter. All right, it's not too bad. But for this one, if you want to drive this as a trail truck, I think this is a little bit too slow. And if you wanted to use it as a crawler, it's just, yeah. I just feel like that's kind of like, I just kind of always feel like the motor is actually going to be burning out, because you can hear that it's just kind of struggling to like push on a higher gear, you know? So, you know, I just think that this probably, I don't know what they're trying to do with this one, because if you wanted to drive it as a trail truck, it's just not fast enough. I just don't think that you will be able to like, yeah, walk with it, because like this is something that you wanted to probably stand there and just, you know, try to crawl it, but the crawling capability was okay. You're just not having enough like crawling capability with this thing, so I don't know. So maybe something that I would say this is probably just going to be cheap for you to like, you know, get started, but I don't think this is really impressive for this thing that is offering. So MM models or the other things are actually seems to be a better option. Consider that they are going to give you more stuff for the price you're actually paying, and bigger and, you know, better. So this one, not really impressed. All right, so next it's just going to be a regular trail test, and you can see what I meant because like you can see that this is super slow. And if you just wanted to walk this on like regular paved road, it's just kind of like slow. And even if you wanted to punch a throttle, it just feels like it's going to break in any second. So you know what? This is a little bit challenging for me to say that it's good. Yeah. I don't think this is going to be a good option if you're just going to be starting at a budget. Oh, well, it just tilted over. Oh, Mikey, let's flip you back. Oh, the snorkel just fell off. All right, here you go. All right. But I would say this is still going to be a really nice platform if you're just trying to upgrade it. That's going to be something that is going to be eventually going to be fun for you. Because like, the turning angle is just terrible. Yes, so I think this is kind of like the first generation WPO trucks. Probably one of them. They're actually not bad, but I think they're just like known to be a little bit underpowered. I just don't know if the newer models like the C24 is actually going to be better. I actually have the C64, I believe, C64. Yeah, that one is actually not bad. But this one is just like completely, I just don't think this one has it's going to be a very good option if you're just starting out completely. Because, yep, I just don't know how the motors is going to survive because this is a relatively small motor for like a bigger chassis. So, all right, so at least it is climbing okay. Yeah. So when you don't have a lot of gears and you have a small motor, so you have to like kind of sacrifice your like speed in order to get the torque. So, yep, that's just going to be something that I don't really enjoy. All right, so basically that's going to be the line of sight test. Next, let's just put a FPV camera on top to see how it actually feels when you're driving it. All right, so for the video system, we're going to be using the same old Cadex GT system. And you can see that we're just basically putting like tapes, double-sided tapes on top of the trucks, like kind of like secure everything. So very simple installation. All right, so this is going to be our not so behind the wheel test because I just found like this one, it's just a little bit hard to like add the camera into the cockpit. So I just decided to just do it like this because of the car size and the door doesn't open. So yep, this is going to be the best I can get for now because yep, if I wanted to do that, I probably would have to do like a little smaller camera. So overall, it's not too bad. You can see that at least when you're driving this in the view of the FPV, it doesn't feel too bad. But yeah, this is probably the fastest you can go. And it's going to be really shaky because of the shots, I'd say. So yep. But overall, like some of the additional stuff that I want to say to this car is that this is probably going to be, well, I think like why this wasn't that good is probably due to that it is kind of like an older model, like it's not like the newer ones. So yeah, that's why that you're probably not going to get the best kind of like newer like technology on the market right now. So if this is like released in this year, I do think that this probably is going to be something that is going to be relatively better. So yep, the performance wise, not really impressed by everything that I'm seeing right now. So if you wanted to start with WPL, I would say probably check out their C64 or like C74, as these are going to be a newer trucks that it was released. And I think that it is going to be better in a sense that this one is just a little bit, I just don't think this is going to be that worth it for the price that you're getting because you do have other options that is kind of like the relatively price range, like the M model A2S. I think that one is actually going to be better than this one if you're going to spend the same amount of money, around 40 bucks or something like that. All right, okay. Let's see if we can climb. All right, come on. All right, okay, it's coming up. Okay, good. Yeah, the thing with FPV is you won't be able to see like where are you actually driving. So all the terrains, everything is like basically what you're seeing in front, and it's just not going to be very like detailed in the point. So yep, you just have to kind of like drive like a real car to kind of guess where you're going. You just don't see like you just don't have a bird's eye view. Let's just say it like this. All right, let's actually just drive a little bit faster. You can see, oh my god, this is going to be really bouncy. So yeah, probably not going to be this one. Another good part about WPL C24 is that this is also like a really popular truck. So if you wanted to upgrade this, you can. I think there's going to be a lot of like aftermarket parts that you can just go get. All right, so tree trunks. I don't think this is actually performing that well, but come on. Okay. All right. So it's not too bad. But overall, yeah, I think this is going to be about it for this test. Not super impressive, and that's going to be the conclusion. But yeah, I think it's because this is like a really old truck, so it's not giving it too much of a justice. But hey man, if you wanted to start, just probably check out for the time being, like the truck I test. I do feel like the MM82S is going to be a far superior truck than this one. And we're just actually going to be doing another comparison like in another video. So yep, I'll see you there. All right, so that's going to be about it for this video. I just kind of like have an issue, like my mic just kind of like broke up a little bit. So yep, this is going to be about it. All right, so that's going to be about it for this video. And if you have additional questions or you have any comments, please feel free to leave it down below. If you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Happy driving and happy flying. Bye for now.